Do you want to grow your small business? Are you tired of your current job and want to start your own business? If so, I've got good news for you. Small Business Marketing Talk Show is a new show designed to give new and emerging business owners tips and hints to grow your small business. Renowned authors Dr. Jack McCann and Dr. Daryl Green host an entertaining show that answers your everyday questions. Now, here's our hosts for today with Dr. J. McCann and Dr. D. Green.
Welcome back to the Small Business Marketing Talk Show, where we discuss everything from how to get started, why to get started. I'm here today with Dr. Daryl Green and Dr. Jack McCann. As always, so happy they let me hang out with them. So what we have coming for you today is some discussion on marketing strategy. So what is marketing strategy? We're just going to jump right into it. So Dr. McCann, Dr. Green, take your pick. One of you jump into it. What is marketing strategy?
Dr. Jack, I'll let you go first.
Well, a good strategic plan can help protect and grow the firm's resources. And that's what it's all about. You know, you're trying to be profitable, you're trying to grow your organization. It's a process that, we create and maintain a fit between our objectives and resources. And so we're doing strategic planning to develop those marketing strategies that are going to help us be successful in the market.
And just kind of follow up on the wonderful and marvelous facilitating that you have controlled, Dr. Jack and myself. If those viewers, if they have followed us, we talked about marketing ideas, and now you say you're on fire. You got all these ideas.
Yes.
But without a strategy, you're probably going to fail, and that is really what we see. A lot of companies not have, they're under resourced, don't have the direction, and really the marketing strategy is really the icing on the cake, as we would say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely. So I know you all prepared some slides for us today that kind of go into most businesses pick one of three strategies. So do you all want to get into that?
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Jack, you want to share the slides with us?
Here we go.
Here we go.
This comes from chapter 3 in our book, and this one's entitled Marketing Strategies.
And Dr. Jack, you want to mention, that that is the digital. We have a digital book, Small Business Marketing, for those people, the Generation Z and Y that want to play digitally. And this is really where this is coming from. Chapter 3 of the book that focuses on the market strategy.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to some questions to.
Yeah, so when we advise small businesses, emerging entrepreneurs, you know what we have to say. Are there questions that you should ask yourself? The proverbial answer is yes. And the first time I actually work with my students, they actually partner with small businesses. We do micro internships. Is what is the vision of the organization? Because where there is no vision, the people perish. We know in the scripture. And
That's
so
right.
It's very important to understand, and this is what we're going to go into later. But I tell them, what is the vision of that particular business owner, and then I look at where is the current situation that they're in. That is what the gap is, and that's what you really want to know. So we want to make sure the strategy is gathered. And what is the strategy? We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. And what is the goals? How do you measure success? And what markets are you in? That gets into what we call Porter's 5 forces, looking at is the market is favorable, unfavorable, and that's what we talk about in our book. So that's just and looking at the core competencies, what you do well. Dr. Jack, any of those questions that you would like to kind of harp on?
What I think about through all this process of developing and implementing marketing strategy is that the purpose of it is to gain that competitive advantage. And that's gaining those unique features that, a company and its products are perceived by our target audience, who we're wanting to sell to. We have to position ourselves that we appear to be and are superior to the competition. And so we're trying to develop and understand those factors and be able to communicate those to our customers and excel and exceed what our customers are doing. So these three types of competitive advantage that we're going to talk about are cost and product services, differentiation and niche. Just like you were talking about, Porter's three forces, three primary basic strategies. Those are the things that we're after. We have to set marketing objectives. We have to do situation analysis. We have to do some planning and preparation, and develop the strategies that fit best with our resources and who we are. So these are some of these questions that we have to answer. We have to do a lot of reflection to understand, what's best for our organization, best for our customers.
And I just kind of follow up with you. I think a lot of companies, in that book we talk about poor planning.
Yes.
Poor planning will kill you. And we try to give those individual small businesses, we actually give them a roadmap. We actually ask them the questions to ponder to help them develop the whole thing about how to plan. A lot of times we like to just go all at it, full force, without really understanding what are the looking at the competitors and looking at the buyers. And we try to help small businesses and entrepreneurs avoid those traps.
Nice. Plan your work your plan.
Amen.
So,
ready for the next?
Yeah, just hit the three basics, and we're gonna talk about some examples.
Yeah, examples are good.
So you've got the three primary strategies that Michael Porter presents in his research and writing: low cost, differentiation, and niche and or focused. And so the low cost strategy, it's a lower price, stimulate demand and gain market share. So pretty simple. And then with a differential strategy, you're trying to be different in some way. Lots of different ways you can do it, but companies are attempting to set the product and services apart from the competition. And then with a niche strategy, the business is trying to communicate to a market that's not served. It may be it's a subdivision or a part of another market, but they feel like they can establish a relationship with that subdivision or sub target customer. So they're focusing on a smaller group, not everyone in a target market, but just a smaller group that they believe that they can appeal to.
So now we're going to do show and tell. Now we're going to make sure you understand the concept. We're going to actually give you example. And my wife last night, she cut my hair. I mean, she cut it all. I try to say to Barbara, Dr. Jack probably realized that. So we're going to talk about, we're going to use, so a lot of times in the classroom, I use McDonald's, where I show the difference between McDonald's low cost strategy versus differential strategy that Burger King uses versus Chick-fil-A's niche. But I want to use the haircut. We're going to use the haircut. So Dr. Jack, could you put the first one in, the first one there for me?
You got it.
All right. Now I'm just going to let you know. My wife has sisters that live in Houston, and every person knows that most haircuts are like $15. I don't know, Dr. Jack. Last time you went to they're like $15 to get a basic treatment done.
Sure.
So I was in Houston, and I had to do a double take. I was going to the store, and right across the street from this plaza was a $4.99 haircut place. And you know what? I could not believe this. So you know what I did? I carried myself into that building, and I said, y'all, now I'm talking Louisiana. I said, y'all, how long have you been in existence? They say, for several decades.
Oh, wow.
And I left that place, and I said to myself, who in the world want a $5 haircut? But what they have managed to do, Dr. Jack, That was low cost. That's low cost strategy.
It is.
The place was packed.
It was
It's,
packed.
the place was packed.
Wow.
And so when you're going in there, I'm saying, you know what? You're not looking for no pedicure. You're not looking for no manicure, and you're not looking for no. You're looking for the bottom rock bottom basics. Dr. J, talk a little bit about the low cost strategy in that scenario.
They have an advantage. They know what it costs, to provide the service that they're providing to the customer. They're providing a basic service. They're not providing everything. They're not trying to appeal to everybody. Not everyone wants that $5 haircut, that basic model, but it appeals to enough people, enough audience, and they do a good job, obviously, with it because they've done it for years, and they've got it down. They know their cost, and they can make money, and they are appealing to a target audience that wants that $5 haircut.
So what's the down? Let's talk about that. So that is the advantage. What is the disadvantage of using a low cost strategy? Looking at that $4.99 haircut salon.
It's the price. It's the perception. People will often perceive a $4.99 haircut. If it's everyone else is charging $15, there's something wrong here. Yep. There's a quality issue. Where the natural customer behavior in this sense is we're not going to pick the lowest or not going to pick the highest, product price, but we're going to pick somewhere in the middle, and that's just trying to hedge your bet. That's just, consumer behavior. You're afraid to go too low because of quality, afraid to go too high because of, you don't want to pay that much because it might be too much. So you go somewhere in the middle. So if you can establish yourself as a quality provider or of haircuts at this price, low cost provider with good quality, then you're doing something that others aren't willing to do or able to do.
Yeah. And I agree. I just caution people. I don't like the low cost strategy in the United States.
Right.
Because unless you are the manufacturer or the developer, it's very hard to compete on price because everybody's going to try to compete. And that's just, I just don't like that strategy for most of the things that we do. I don't think it's as effective. But that is something to talk about. The next one. Let's talk about the next one.
Ooh, what's the next one?
So we just talked about a basic haircut. You go in low cost. You're not expecting the fringe.
Right.
But differentiation. I'm going to let Dr. Jack talk to you. But the example I'm going to get. All right, check this out. I found this restaurant. It's called New Edition Bar. It's a hair salon. It's a barber shop. It's a bar, and it's a car wash. And it's a car wash.
My goodness.
Is that not Hey, Dr. D, that is certainly something different. It may not appeal to everyone, but they're trying to appeal to a group of people that do want these services. And so when you can find, if your target customers are looking for, or you can appeal to a distinct group of people, that want the different things that you're offering, then you found something. You're trying to find something and do something different than the competition to stand out. And that's not just in word. This is obviously indeed. These folks are doing it. Barbershop, car wash, hair salon. What a great concept.
And we're not advocating. Don't you get your hair cut and drive? A drink. Yeah. We're not advocating cuts, drinking, and driving. We're not advocating that. Okay, but we're just saying that is pretty different.
It is.
So what's the pros and cons? What's the cons of using this strategy, Dr. Jack, as opposed to that low cost strategy?
It's unique and valuable to customers because it's beyond just simply providing that low price, product, because they're offering these additional things that just that low cost provider can't do. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the bar. You're not going to get, the car wash and all these other things with your experience at the low cost, but you're going to get it here.
Yeah.
All right. So we've just talked about, we gave one example, haircut. low
That's
cost
good.
provider, differentiation, and now we're for the rock the house. We're going to talk about niche or focus strategy. Hit it, Dr. Jack. We
Well,
got little poo poo at the getting at the dog grooming shop. Dr. Jack, talk about what is the niche or the focus in that situation.
not everybody wants or needs, is going to have their dog's hair styled and cut, at a dog salon. They're either, they're going to do it themselves, or, they don't have an animal. But the niche competitive strategy is about, seeking that target and serving that single segment. And it's great for small companies, limited resources, and in a market segment that has good growth potential. And this certainly has good growth potential since there's been an uptick in pet ownership, especially dogs. And so this is a real opportunity for a lot of small towns and folks that are trying to, find something they can excel at. If you like animals and you like, hair cutting, here it is. This is for that group. It's not the low cost. It's not the, our differentiator, but it's appealing to a group that's a subgroup of these other customers. So,
and Dr. Jack, I'm going to do some bad jokes. Please forgive me, audience. I'm
please
going to go with some bad jokes.
do it.
So this is probably one of my clients. I call her the Protect the Innocent. Call her Helen Pam. Two first names, Helen Pam. And so she found herself, Dr. Green, what am I going to do? She looked at the low cost strategy. She could not compete on that on price. She looked at differentiation. She said, you know what? I don't have any idea. And so you know what I did? I say, let's go to the dogs.
There you go.
And so she's in a separate category. So she's no longer dealing with human beings. She's dealing with little humans. She dealing with little pets. So that is what you can do. You a different category that you own, and that's the value of that. So, Dr. Jack, are there any cons in being a niche or a focus or strategy for the audience?
Well, I believe the advantage, you're seeking that target and effectively serving a smaller segment of the market, and so you're kind of protected from that larger group. However, if some of these larger groups decide they want this piece of the market that they're not currently serving, it can hit you because you're probably in lower scale, smaller type business serving a smaller segment of the market. And so you're going to be vulnerable to, those competitors that want to take market share. However, if you're serving this smaller market better than they can, and you've developed some kind of sustainable competitive advantage with what you're doing an area that they don't want to come in. You're doing in a small town or a number of small towns. They just don't have the wherewithal to come and try to, take your market share, because it's going to be too expensive to do it. And you may have, by virtue of location and specialties and the things that you're doing, with that niche market, the big companies can't do it or not willing to do it. You got that personal aspect here. Look at the dog groomer there. You get to know her, and she's doing something well. And if she does a really good job on your animal, treats it well, and she comes out of there looking good, or he or she comes out of there looking good, it's kind of hard to compete with. How are you going to make a dog grooming franchise to compete with someone that's already there and lives in the community and is serving that smaller niche?
Good point, Dr. Jack. Could you unshare your screen now?
Sure.
Lindsi,
Yeah.
you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You left it up to Dr. Jack and myself, and we took the show to the dogs.
You took
It went down to
yes, we did.
Straight to the dogs.
We did.
But hey, I do have a question for you too. So I'm wondering, what are some factors that you need to consider whenever you're choosing which marketing strategy to go with? Like location, I'm sure matters, like where you are. Talk about that, if you will.
So I'll enter one, and Dr. Jack can take it. I think you need to know who you are and what you are. So core competence, you got to decide what do you do well. In terms, do you have the resources to be a low cost provider? So as for me, I think understanding your core competencies is critical.
Absolutely. and also your customers. You've got to know your customers and who they are and how that relates to your strategy and how that fits in. Who are they? Who's your target? You've got to identify them. And that's going to help you identify the strategy you need for your organization, along with the resources that you have to support your core competencies.
Very good. Okay. Anything else on that?
Well, I think a lot of times, because we aren't taught this in school unless you have a business interest, that you need to get with somebody who's reputable and to go over it. Or you can get resources like our small business marketing book that might be helpful. But I think it's very important that you understand that. I just think it takes some time to understand what it means and actually trying to map that out. It's not something, we're not giving you something instant. This is not an instant solution. It's something you have to develop. You need to work with and develop over time.
Yeah. In the strategic planning process, it's an ongoing process, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're developing strategies and maybe today it's low cost, tomorrow it's differentiation, but you've got to know your competitors, your competition, your company, and make the changes that are necessary. A particular company may have, more than one strategy. They may, even though, Porter may not recommend it, but you may have, depending on your product lines, you may have low cost in one area and differentiation in one and serving niche markets in another. So these strategies can be used in combination or individually overall, because we're talking about, marketing and business strategy kind of rolled into one. So you may have to use more than one.
Well, that's true. Wow. Plan your work your plan. Well, we're right at 20 minutes. You guys have anything else to add? I want to make sure we talk a little bit about your book that's coming out, Small Business Marketing, Building Winning Strategies in a Digital Economy, coming out June 15 or 20th, right?
Yes.
It'll be on Amazon, in all the big bookstores, Kindle, PDF, online. So do you guys want to talk about that a little bit before we get off here?
Yes, as I would say, if you're serious about growing your business, then you need to get that book. I think we have our small business market. We have a textbook that's designed specifically for Generation Y and Z. This textbook, anybody can utilize it. It's a paperback book, and it gives you a roadmap. If you're the kind of person that likes to touch and feel your books, and like me, I like to mark them up, then this is the perfect resource for you. And we highly encourage you getting a copy of that.
Yes.
It'll be a good reference source for you. You want to be successful in business, you've got to learn and study. And this is a good foundation for it. So keep this thing handy and use it.
Nice. Well, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to go back. We're going to go a little bit, take a step and look at evaluating the competition.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I misspoke. We're going to be, I think we're going to be dealing with digital marketing.
Okay.
We're going to look at that. We're going to look at that first. And we're still looking at the competition.
Absolutely.
But that's what we're going to do. I'm so excited. Lindsi, you make us look good. Me and Dr. Jack, you really make us look good. We really appreciate you.
No, I'm just glad I get to hang out with you guys. I learn a lot from you. So I guess that's all we have for you tonight. Tune in next week. There's so much to cover, so stay tuned.